Hey Witchlings! It's finally October 2nd, and today we're doing the Inktober prompt of Wisp. Happy Inktober! Alright, to save a little bit of time, what I'm going to do is I am going to just wing it. I have a concept of what I want to do for Wisp, and I'm just going to wing it and see what happens. So if it fails, it fails. That's okay. But what I was thinking for Wisp is I looked up the definition, and it's for like tiny things that float away. So I was looking up the definition for Wisp, and Wisp is kind of like the concept of tiny things or little insignificant bits that go away. And for that concept, I was thinking about separating wheat from chaff. And I don't know why that came into my head, but it did. So I'm going to be doing a prompt where I separate ink from chaff. I'm going to be doing a prompt where I separate the wheat from the chaff. And that is going to be my concept. So what I was thinking I would do is I would draw a wheat field. And then in front of the wheat field, I do a little hill where there's a lady separating the wheat from the chaff. So here's hoping that it works out okay. So I'm gonna do a little perspective drawing here to put up the wheat. And then this can be little texture. And then I thought that what I could do in the foreground is draw a person like on a little hill or something where she is separating the wheat from the chaff. So draw on a hill to break up the scenario. And I thought what I would do for her is draw her in a silhouette so that it would really pop compared to the background. That's kind of my idea. So we shall see if it works. But I like this for Wisp. My inspiration was to use the runes for new day, victory, just something to like let go of the old. Let go of the things that no longer serve you. I thought that would be a good concept for Wisp, is to let go of those things that are no good for you anymore. Those little things that are insignificant and don't really matter. And if it doesn't work out, that is a-okay. I do my best anyway. Because we got one a day, so if they're not all perfect, that's all right. It happens sometimes. All right, so this time I am gonna just jump straight on in with painting and see how it goes. So I'm gonna start with painting the background, keep the foreground in mind, but just focus on that first, and then solidify the foreground once the background is finished. I'm gonna be very risky and mix right on top of here. I'm gonna have to get more of this stuff. Works out a little bit better than water because it dries so fast, which I very much appreciate. I'm gonna use a thick paintbrush today because I want to get some bulk areas colored in. So one thing I think I'm gonna do on this one is anywhere I want there to be actual white, like clouds and stuff, I'm gonna actually use rubber cement to block those areas off so that they remain white. So that way I can just go crazy and not be so worried about being particular. So let's paint in some happy little clouds. Thanks, Bob Ross, I love you. Love you, Bob Ross. Ooh, maybe like make the clouds come in through here to kind of help there be a difference between the ground. And kind of go off to the side to bring the focus back. I don't know if you can see my rubber cement here. Trust me, I'm painting with rubber cement. Trust me, I'm an artist. This is an old trick that I learned forever ago from my dad when he used watercolor. Rather than like taping things off, you can actually paint the areas that you want to bar off with rubber cement. And I don't know if this is like common knowledge, but this is something that I've been doing since I was quite young. I don't know if it's like that old 80s wisdom from my dad. But I've been enjoying using rubber cement for watercolors or water-based mediums because it does give you a good barrier. And then at the end, all you do is you just take like a normal eraser and it will just peel right the heck off. And it's super convenient. I love it. All right, it's probably enough clouds. What you think? Oh yeah. Once, as it dries, I'll see if you can actually see that, but it gives it a little barrier so that you don't have any ink going in through the paper in that area. I'll give that a second to dry while I kind of think about this area here. So I know I want this to kind of like be darker and deplete as you go back. And then let me think, because I'm using a little reference photo of a wheat field where there's little 2 tracks in here. And I'm trying to make sure that I get a good texture. So I'm wondering what would be a good cheat for making texture happen here. As I would really like not to have to do those individually. So let me think if I have any really coarse brushes. I'm going to try one of my paint brushes that I made with hair from a Arctic fox and see if that gives me a nice texture. Get you the spottiness, but not the texture I would like. I mean, it's helping a little bit, but I like more like texture that goes like this, like scratchy marks. I'm trying to think what would be a good tool for that. I'm not one that's gonna come here and paint like individual grains of wheat. That's for freaking sure. That's not where I'm at. I'm not about that life. Ooh, what if I use my broom? Look out, everybody! I'm getting real crazy. A little bit. I wonder if I layer different like amounts of darkness on top of each other, if I'd be able to make more of this texture. I'm wondering, because this is not the worst actually. This really hard structure. You can see all of my magical instruments eventually become art tools because I'm just like trying to creatively think of different ways to make something happen. And I'm like, broom. Let's go with broom today. Broom's a perfect choice. Okay. That'll work. I feel like we're getting somewhere with this. I'm getting somewhere. I'm liking it. Next, I think... I'm wondering if I want to dilute this a bit more to see if I can have a really subdued background. But first, we will draw our 2 tracks. Let's see, I got all the paintbrushes out today. Oh, here's one I made of my own hair. I wonder how that one's gonna do with the ink. I'm not 1000% about this. Yeah, this is dry, so I can start working on that background. So I don't know if I can do this with ink the way that I'm doing this, but I was hoping I can make a gradient from like dark to light. Dip into like the pure ink here. Let's see. Oh yeah, that kind of makes a stormy sky. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I'm digging that. It does look like a stormy sky. Heck yeah. We're getting places. Not college, but places. I've already been there, so don't worry about that. Let's do a happy little tree back here. do us some happy little trees. I'm trying to add a little bit of that like washed out ink in with some like stray ink to see if I can make more of like a gradient for this tree. It is nice fat like oak tree, not a cedar like Bob Ross does, because Bob Ross always does some like what do you call it, like the pine trees. Yeah, it's just some kind of like pine tree. So I'm trying to make some varied difference here, and for this I'm gonna try to do a really nice heavy-handed base to this tree to help add some contrast to the picture. So I know it's in the background, but it is also a visual intrigue point. So it might be nice just to add a little bit of like really dark back here. And I think I made this tree a bit too thick, but that's okay. It happens sometimes. And then across this horizon, I want to do some happy little bushes. So my reference picture, I got some happy little bushes back here that I'm looking at. Happy little bushes in the background. I feel like it doesn't have it in the original. But you know, I was going to say I would like to add some here. But honestly, because I am doing the silhouette in front, I think it would have a better balance if I do keep it just on this side to balance out the silhouette on this side. Next, I'm going to add some texture in here, this 2 tracks. Actually, this is doing a pretty dang good job. What's this? This is a Tombow water pen, and I'm not adding any water. I'm just dipping it straight into ink like a heathen. And, well, I am a heathen, right? And because the brushes are flat, it's kind of adding an interesting texture down here, which I kind of dig. Let's see if I can start, like, fanning that texture up a bit. Oh, yeah. Hell yeah! Ah, hell yeah. That's what it's all about right there. That's what's up. That looks like wheat. We love it. We love our wheat field. And I add some more texture down this 2 track. This 2 track's a bit wide. I should have probably thinned it up a bit, but we okay. I do kind of like how this ink, when it's mixed with the acetone stuff that I use for the acrylic paint blend, it kind of like fades out really nicely. Like it's a nice surprise when it gets dry. It's a really cool gray color, of course. Get that cool gray. Be the cool kids with the cool gray. Alright, so for this one, my concept for Wisp was that we let those little wisps of things that seem like they matter, let them go if they don't serve us. So that was my idea for this, with the inspiration of separating the wheat from the chaff, because I feel like it's important to kind of like curate your life and make sure that you're only giving the attention to the things that really deserve it. So like I guess when I was a Christian, there was one thing that we used to talk about, which is like the best yes was a book, and it was just making sure that you don't focus your time on things that are not helpful or relevant to your life, and that you only say yes to things that are incredibly important to you or your family. I'm gonna try, I think this needs to be a bit more dry. Luckily my background is gray. But just making sure that you're curating your life and only giving attention to those things that are actually really helpful to you, or build you up, or build your family up. And just the things that don't serve you, just say goodbye. Have a great day. I miss you when you go. Maybe I don't. And that this would be a good talisman to use for making sure that you do let those things go, or keep in mind of the things that don't serve you to get rid of them. I feel like I've over textured the front here. I wonder if I just kind of like lighten up this black, if I can get some better texture further back to make it look like it's further away. This is one, I'm not very savvy with ink, but I'm just trying my best to kind of use it like a watercolor. I'm not sure that that's the best use of ink. It'd probably be better if I just did like black ink work on this rather than trying to like do what I'm doing here. to try to treat it like it's watercolor, because it ain't watercolor. It's ink, you know, Inktober. I'm really hoping this will kind of like ease up a bit, because it's a bit bold right now, a little bolder than I would like. I keep on trying to like swatch on my hand to try to kind of bring down this tone a bit, because the tone's a bit much for me. I'd like it to be a little bit lighter tone. And I know, like, okay, so the thing that's blowing my mind right now is like I am using just the same color that I used earlier, this light gray, but for some reason it's just coming out so much darker right now. That's better. There we go. So I'd like to mix in some tones that are a little bit more that light range back here to kind of make it look like it's going off into the distance. But man, the learning curve for this, something, I tell you. I don't know how to do ink like it's watercolor. You know, I used to actually do, what is it called? Like how you do kanji, where you have like a little block of ink that you grind against a stone, and then you can make it like lighter and darker, and then use it to do like those traditional Japanese style paintings where they use the different tones of gray to make the painting. I used to do that a lot, but I lost my kit for it. But I really like to do it again, because it's a really fun way to use it like watercolor, because you can be more helpful about adjusting that tone. So if I do find myself a replacement, I'll probably do some Inktober with that, because it is really awesome to be able to just make the ink as dark as you'd like it to be. Speaking of that, I'm going to make this hopefully a little bit lighter on this pathway here, so it kind of like pops a bit. Yeah, that's good. It's a good color. And I'm not worried about this section at all, because I'm going to be coloring in with hopefully just pure black. So it's kind of like just a really dark silhouette, you know. Why is this looking brown? Ink is weird, man. I wonder if it mixed in with some of the colors I already have up here. Now I feel like I'm losing some of my definition. I'm gonna leave that be and start working on the foreground. But first, I think it's important to erase our rubber cement. See how it turned out. All right, let's see how these clouds turned out. Another thing that's funny is you can just go like this, but I'm afraid that it's gonna smear the ink a bit. Actually, I feel like I should probably wait. So I'm gonna wait on the rest of this just to make sure the ink is dry. But you can kind of see how it did the thing where it's absolutely white there, because it wouldn't let the ink get in through the paper. So I'm gonna hold off on that. I'm gonna curb my enthusiasm. And I think for the fine details on this foreground, I'm gonna use a pen. So I have here, this one's, I don't know, but it's cool. And I also have a Tombow. So I wonder if there's much of a difference between these two. Let's take a look. They're pretty similar, but I think this one's gonna get us more flexibility. But they're super similar. I just see that this one has a slightly longer, this bluer, this Tombow, I think is gonna be better at making more like script. So it's going to be better for like calligraphy. So I think in regards to that, I will go with this one. All right, now I'm going to start blocking out the front, and I'm a bit nervous about it. So I'm going to watch my reference as best I can, but typically when I do silhouettes, I am going to actually print out and do a copy like with a light table, because it's really hard to get a silhouette absolutely perfect without doing that. And I have nothing wrong with using a light table. I think it's very good to do, personally. So to give myself a little bit of graciousness, I'm gonna try to draw it a little bit within its own parameters. So draw it a little bit too small first so I can keep making it bigger. I'm hoping that will be a little bit kinder to future me as I try to put this together. Oh, pray for me! love it, but it's okay. So let me go in with the ink and see if I can't make that really dark and see what I think of it after that. Your inks, this is like water-based ink. Do your inks make like guck? I don't know why my inks make the guck. Why you make the guck ink? I love that black. I hope it stays just as black as it dries. We can only hope. I think this leg could be a little bit thicker too. I think I went a little bit too bold there, but we'll see. She has a very tiny little butt. It is very unlike me to draw a tiny little butt. Alright, next, what'll I do next? I think I'm gonna do a solid for this that's a little bit lighter than her, but darker than the foreground. Oof. I love watching that ink just like disappear into the paper. It's like, oh, this is gonna cause me some paper warp. I'm a bit nervous about it, but it's probably okay. I think I'll do a little tiny barrier around her to make her pop a bit, but then also make the horizon line pretty dark. I think that'll help. Or the hill. I think I'll make that hill fairly dark. And then maybe I could draw some individual wheats up through here. It might be nice. So I'm gonna do a quick dispersion of this, try to bring it down a bit. And then maybe I'll be able to do some individual wheats in front here. You know, this background's kind of growing on me. I don't hate it too much. It's okay. Now I'm getting real wild mixing it with actual water because I got water inside of this one. Ooh, you can tell the difference between the water and the alcohol. Look how slow that's going into the paper. Oh, I see the positives and negatives of the alcohol now. Also, we'll have to see how this dries, but look how brown it is when you use water and when you use the acetone stuff. It's like so much more black. It's like a cool gray instead of a brown, like a warm gray. Very interesting. Okay, so while this foreground dries, I'm going to do my sigil that I've planned here. And I was thinking what I might do is draw a bunch of little black dots up in here to signify the wheat that's going up. And then the chaff, I'm going to have it fly off this way and kind of make the illustration of the sigil out that way. So first we'll draw little grains of wheat flying in the air. And they should be just as dark as her, theoretically. I got my finger covered in ink. You probably can't see, but like as you push it down, it like flexes a bit, so you can make tiny dots or like really thick dots. Ooh, make a bunch up here, so it's like she threw that wheat like way up in the air. That'll be fun, right? Fun wheat throwing adventures. Hooray! Alright, next I'm going to do the chaff, and I think I'm going to actually illustrate out what my sigil looks like so that hopefully I can put it in a little bit better. So my sigil, I'll draw it on the, no, it's too wet. I'll draw it on my scrap piece of paper here. So my sigil is a combination of that rune, which is a rune signifying destruction, so we're destroying that which doesn't serve us. Next one we have victory, so we're going to do a great job at this, and the next one is unfulfilled desires. So we're going to destroy the unfulfilled desires and have some prosperity over that. So we're going to win and destroy the unfulfilled desire. So next, I'm going to kind of plan out how I want to illustrate that in here. So I think what I'll do is I'll have it kind of like stretch out like this, maybe. Oh, maybe like this. Oop. And then okay. I got kind of like a loose idea of what I want to do. Now I'm going to dot it in. So I'm just kind of like making dotted line for that sigil, because you might not actually be able to see it when this piece is completed. I'm unsure yet, but it is still in there. And there. So now we have our silhouette of the sigil in the painting. So whether or not it is prominent, you might not be able to see that, but it is still here. So as this painting is in your life, if you were to, I don't know, if I ever do paintings to purchase, like prints, if this one were to be yours, you could use it to help get you through the times when you're getting rid of things that aren't important. Or if you have a time at the end of the day where you kind of like curate what you're going to spend your time on, this would be a good one to have in that space. Nice. And I think we're doing pretty good. I'm going to probably fill in some of this around her a little bit with some very diluted ink, hopefully. I hope this is diluted. I have a lot of water in here. Oh, what if I do like random collections of wheat? That might be cute. Like little bundles, like flower patches of wheat. I feel like this pen is having a really hard time now. I don't know what kind of hells I've put this pen through, but he's not having a good time with it. Oh, I'm such a jerk with my pen sometimes. One thing that's interesting about the wheat is it all goes upward and it's really thick together. And I feel like I'm not doing an awesome job at putting that together. So like it goes up like this, but it's like collected together. It's a bit thick, I guess. Dang, I really overfilled this spot, didn't I? It's probably because I do things like I just dumped it in there for no particular reason. Let's just dump our pen into the other ink. Not great for the ink, eh? Okay, I think we're at a place where I can erase my rubber cement now. Wonder if my hands are clean enough. Yeah. So I can just kind of roll it up. Once you get a nice ball of rubber cement going, it's a lot more fun because it becomes like a little, I don't know, like it collects itself, I guess. So it's like it likes the same, so it'll help you like roll up the rest of it. Look at those cute clouds. It's also going to remove some of my wheat, but you know, oof, definitely should have waited before I did that. Rubber cement, it's what's up. Have I broken the rules of Inktober by using rubber cement? Please don't tell the gods of Inktober that I did a bad. I'm pretty happy. I feel like I don't like this division right here, so I'd like to think about how I'd like to make that look a little bit better. I think I'll use, oh, I could do the broom maybe. Maybe. I'm very scared that I'm gonna ruin what I just did. There's probably a tool that does this like on purpose, huh? I, alas, am not privy to said tool. Oh, you know what? How about this? Like a paintbrush with it spread out a bit. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's what's up. I'm gonna make these hopefully a little bit smaller so it looks more like it's in the foreground. And I feel like I could get away with making it a little bit darker too, since it is in the front. And this is like more to the background. At least theoretically it's supposed to be more towards the background. What if I go, ooh, heck yeah. Oh yeah, I love that. That's great. That makes it look like it's definitely in front of the other wheat field stuff. You know, I kind of wasn't really thinking when I put that little road there, but now I'm kind of really liking it because it thinks it's like as you go down your journey and your road, you need to take moments to set aside to think about what needs to get eliminated from your life. And I kind of like that, where like you need to take a place where you can just rest and really think about what's critical in your life to get rid of things that don't serve you anymore. And it's like deeper than I was anticipating. Look at the secret depth. But the silhouette's not 1000%, but I feel like it's okay. I think if I were to probably have made like, what is it called? So like you can do a thing where you, like this paper is much too thick to do a light box because it's a watercolor paper. So what I could do if I wanted to do more silhouette work is I could make that silhouette, draw it up, and then do a transfer paper. So like put on the back of my silhouette a little bit of pencil, like graphite, so that I can go and use the graphite, like put the paper on top and have the graphite go through the paper and then onto this one, so that I could have a much more solid and like put together silhouette. Because like this isn't the worst, but it's definitely not the best silhouette that I've done. Because I was just kind of winging it and I didn't even like thumbnail or anything. Art tends to be better when you plan, but sometimes it's fun just to do it and see what happens. See, am I done? I feel like I'm getting close to being done. I feel like this needs to be a little bit more mixed up. And yeah, let me do a little bit more on this horizon here. Make it a little more solid. All right, I'm done. I shall put a signature on it today. Look at me. Melangle. Thank you so much for joining me with this Inktober prompt of Wisp. I hope you enjoyed the wispy little wheat and chaff going off into the distance and enjoyed the magical context for this. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you do like and subscribe. Please do leave comments if you have any thoughts, if you have a different prompt that you did. So on this prompt, if you did something different, just let me know what you did. That'd be really cool, because YouTube loves it when you comment on the things. So thank you so much for joining me today. I love you, Witchlings, and I hope that you're having a good time with your October too. Have a wonderful time painting. I love you very much. Bye!